Now, when I started the question and answer videos, maybe about a year ago, I guess, I had no idea if this was going to be an efficient way of answering the questions that came into the YouTube channel. And it grew on a regular basis to the point where I was answering emails, answering questions, getting pictures from people all over the world, getting questions from people, making some new friends along the way, corresponding with people that I know, and sharing videos and sharing pictures and adventures, and it just turned out to be a great thing. Now, for people that are new, and maybe this is the first time you've ever seen this, we're going to try to answer some questions that have come in on the comments section on our channel, which now has about 2,500 videos, and we get questions virtually every day, and this is a good way to answer them. Now, on this video, we're going to answer questions that have come in on the comments section of our channel. They're going to be motorcycle questions, basically painting questions. We have some about microfibers today, some information about tires, and it's all general information that's sent in. We share it, we try to homogenize it, we try to figure, take the good, not take the bad, and try to pass that information on in a way that's fun, throw in a few funny stories, and some pictures from our friends both overseas and in the United States. Let's get started. So let me start off with one of the positive comments that, and I'm sure Joe Roselli will be really happy to hear this. A fellow named John, and again, we don't do these in any special order, but I think always starting off with something positive is real nice. John, he loves the night photos that Joe Roselli did. We showed that little video recently, and Joe, super talented guy, all the information is on the channel, of course, and on that video, when we did it in my backyard. It was pretty cool, and he also, the things that I thought were really cool, he's got an MT-09, a newer one. And maybe I don't have this exactly right, but the newer model, which could be a 21 or a 22, I don't know. But he mentioned to me something that I didn't know, that it has an auto blipper. So in other words, I didn't even know what that was. I asked him, we corresponded back and forth. And he said it opens the throttle a little bit when you go to downshift. My shifter only quick shifts up. It doesn't go down. I have a 2020. So obviously the new models have fancier stuff. I know the newer ones have a more sophisticated traction control, but to be honest, the traction control I have on that bike has never failed me yet in almost 13,000 miles. So I'm kind of happy with that. And I thought that was pretty cool. Now, it inspired me enough to, and I was thinking about this, I went down a motorcycle mall recently, and I wanted to see what a new, so I've never seen one except for at the shows where you see it far away. I wanted to see one up close and personal, because I was thinking, wow, if I ever want to get one and customize it, and that would be my first choice of a bike to get. If Karen all of a sudden said, oh, you need a new motorcycle. So, anyway, and I thought another thing, I looked at it and I said, ooh, I can do exactly what I did to mine. I can polish the exhaust, I can make some little side covers, and I put that all on a video of the motorcycle mall, and it's all on the channel. But John, I hope that answers the question that Joe Roselli has been a friend for a really long time, and he is one talented guy, believe me. Those pictures that he did, everybody, they're in my hall. As you walk down the stairs, they're right here, and you walk right by them and see them on your way down to the shop. So I see them probably 20 times a day. And again, to finish out this little segment, Joe, thank you very much. Now, Joe actually made two of these photos, and they're on aluminum, and he donated them to my cause, and they're wonderful. Joe, they are a treasure. I mean, they are, and I see them so many times walking up and down to go get a cup of coffee and whatever, and they're all different. Every one of these, I keep it on my computer to share with people. I think this is just a special little thing. Very, very cool. And once again, Joe, thank you very much. Now, from our friend Coach Ramirez out in California, he has a Ducati. He was taking it apart, and he wanted to know, and this is something I didn't know, but I tried to get the information to him, and I don't know if he actually took it apart or if this worked. But this is the kind of information that on our channel, if somebody really knows, you can put it in the comments section if you've taken one of these Ducatis with the wings apart. What he did, he was taking the bike apart for whatever reason, and he had some cracks in the fairing, and I referred him to the Buell videos they're only about a month old, 2 months old, what we did for Vlad's bike. And boy, is that cheap insurance no matter what kind of bike you have. And the more racier of the bikes, the more high-end racing bikes, the things get thinner and thinner. They try to make it lighter, more prone to cracking. Yeah, I don't know. But again, there was one question, and this is good general information for most people. Well, a lot of people don't know this. I've worked with adhesives my whole life, since I was a kid building model airplanes, 10 years old. All kind of ambroid and glue and CA and this and that and epoxies and whatever. There's a general rule, and it's a general rule. Doesn't work every time, but it's a general rule. If you have two things that are glued together and you can't get them apart. Now, he was trying to get the wings off the part, and he said there's an adhesive in there. I don't know about the adhesive. I don't have, if I had the part, I could try this. But to heat it up and do it little by little by little, usually all glue at about 160 degrees starts to soften, and at about 200 you can pull it apart, except if it's EPON. EPON will go to about 350 degrees before you can pull it apart. But at some point in time, you will have melted the glue. Now hopefully you haven't melted the paint or the finish on what you're doing, but anytime you're dealing with glue and you want to get two things that are epoxied apart or glued apart, heat and do it little by little by little. Don't just put a blowtorch on it. A heat gun, it's even better if you're not familiar with how hot things have to be. Just do it with a hairdryer. You can get things plenty hot with a hairdryer. It just takes time. Again, I hope that worked. I hope we'll get a comment very soon. And I wanted to put a thing in because, and this is something I have done in the past, but I really have to do it over and over again because a lot of people don't know how to do it. When you search YouTube, if you just go to YouTube and you put my name in quotation marks, Wendy Ertnowski, and I'll put this up on the screen, and then the subject, let's just pretend in this case you want to put in carbon fiber, fairings, whatever. What happens when you search, it'll only go to my channel, and by the way, I got this information from John Pothier and it works perfectly. It'll just pull up all the videos. Now if you're already in my channel and you're going among the 2,500 videos, all you have to do is up by the search bar is put in fairings or glue or paint or whatever. And if that information is on my channel, and there's a real good chance it is, it'll come up, and it's very convenient and it's very easy, and you can go right down, and at the end usually there'll be some videos from other channels that are in the similar thing. It'll be helpful, it'll be useful, and it's good information. It's good information to know. Now, as a good example, we just changed a tube tire on the RD, made a video of how to do it, and using the Baja no pinch method, and you can just put in my name and Baja no pinch, up will come the video, and it even comes up if you just put in Baja no pinch. Now, to be honest, I did not expect, I did this nostalgia ride video not long ago. Went back to my old neighborhood, sort of railroad yards and all the things we did. Oh my, and it brought back so many memories. Now I said, I don't know if people are going to like this video. Well, more people want to see full throttle around the corners. But then the response to the video was off the chart. I never had that many comments. And I'm just going to go, some of them were really, really amazing. One of the fellas at Branson, I hope I'm not missing a word, he said, all the story of Harold Price, that's happened to so many other people that they've been tutored by somebody, and even maybe by me, I don't know. And then 20 years later, you go back to the neighborhood and you remember, oh, when I was a kid, I was there, and when I did that. And actually, on that ride, there's one thing I missed, and I regret. Maybe I'll go back and do another one of these nostalgia videos with the parts I left out. I left out one critical thing. The old flying field where we used to fly at the Circle Burner Field is now it looks like Beirut. And they put a new road going in there, and it really rubs it in. There's a $1 million road going by, and here's our old flying field where I spent a good part of my life. So did other people. And this was our flying field in its heyday. The grass was nice. Oh, the memories of this place, the people, the friends. And to see it now, you could cry. You better have a handkerchief with you. The story about Harold Price is so true. Harold Price, when I remember as a kid, 15, 16 years old, true story now. Harold was a really cool guy, a really good modeler. He was way ahead of his time. He knew how to paint. And he taught both Carl Wahlberg and I how to paint, and he introduced us to red and white DuPont compound. Oh my God, it's a whole thing. That's a real nostalgic thing. But then he wanted to go. The either 61 or 62 Nationals was in Chicago. And he had a little Oldsmobile station wagon. We loaded up all the model planes. And, you know, he said, oh, I'll pick you up at your house at 3 o'clock in the morning. We'll head out for this big ride out to Chicago. I'm a kid. I'm 16 years old. And we're about halfway through Pennsylvania. And I said, Harold, are you falling asleep? You're gonna kill us. He said, oh, why don't you drive for a little while? He pulls over, and I'm 16. I don't have a license, but I knew how to drive, of course. And I drove pretty much from Pennsylvania halfway through Ohio before he realized I didn't have a license. Now, that is absolutely true. On my father's grave, that's true. That is so funny when I go back and think. But that's the thing with anything nostalgic. And I was thinking a great thing. Now, there's a movie, and I think the movie is 12 O'Clock High or Bomber Command or something. And the opening scene of the movie is the commander during World War II walks out onto the abandoned air base where there's old weeds growing. And in his mind, he looks up and he sees the B-17s coming in. And it's all in his mind, of course. Well, when I stop by the circle burner field many times to take pictures, and I look at that, I feel like that guy in Bomber Command. And I keep looking out and seeing Jimmy Casale and Glenn Metter and, my God, Kenny Brzezicki, John Misk, Rich Peabody, you name them. Tom Hampshire, Bob Hunt, all out on the field as if we were young kids again. And Buddy Weeder, God, Rich Jacobon, the list goes on and on. It brought back so many memories. I don't even know how to make that part of a video for people that are not modelers that don't realize how intense modeling can be. Now, I participated in modeling my whole adult life. This is one of my models that had a carbon fiber fuselage, carbon fiber cowls, special engines that counter-rotated. Unbelievable amount of dedication went into these model planes. Now, one thing we always try to do on our video is share photos from people around the world. This is from Stefan in Romania. He has a T7. He has been corresponding on a pretty regular basis, and he went on it's a long story, and I think I've already put it on video, maybe I haven't. He bought a T7 Yamaha Tonari. He bought it brand new, went on a 1,000-mile ride, had it serviced in the middle of the ride, sent me all kind of incredible pictures from Romania, got stuck in the mud, dropped it, but I just think back, when you have a new bike, there's something about having a new bike. I guess car guys, it's the same thing when you buy a new car, a new whatever. Something new, it's like your whole life starts all over again. Like the baseball season, the first day of spring training, everybody's in first place. Well, a new bike is the same thing. You never know what's coming down the road. But anyway, I'm going to share these pictures of Stefan, and there's several of them. I might have had some of these on the video already, but I have some new ones too. And I just loved it. We've already shared video from Romania, the back roads of Romania, and found out another cool thing, and we're going to deal with this later in the video. It's illegal to have a radar detector in Romania. And it's not illegal here, and if I didn't have one, I'd be in Rikers Island. And again, thank you, Stefan, for sharing these. I was never in Romania. I've been in a lot of parts of Europe, but never in Romania. And my hairdresser is Romanian, and she keeps telling me what a great place it is. Until I saw these pictures, I was thinking, maybe not. You live in a wonderful part of the world. This looks beautiful to me. And I can't do dirt bikes anymore, of course. I'm too old. But I love looking at the pictures and look at the photography skills. Now, Stefan obviously has some really good photography skills. I'm amazed. And boy, he's right up there getting the lighting right and getting the pictures right and everything. Boy, beautiful. But most of all, it's the bike. Now, this is a thing, if I were younger, I would want to have a bike like this, an on-road, off-road bike. Right now, it's just for me, it's just about street riding and cruising and hanging out with my friends, and definitely done with track days. And Stefan has already started his career in track days, and he's doing great. Now, he says, and he has a Triumph now, a triple, and he's had an MT-09. He said he's considering the more modern MT-09. And he was going to take a test ride. I have not heard yet
whether he is actually interested in that. But of course, an MT-09 is not a dedicated track bike by any means. It's made to be a hooligan and to be a wild man, and which works just perfectly for me. But thank you, Stefan. Thank you very much.
Now, while we're sharing some pictures, and by the way, anybody, again, I'm going to put this up on the screen again. Anybody wants to share pictures and have them put on the question and answer or on my videos, just tell me. I love sharing pictures. I'll send some back to you. I'll always respond with pictures from my collection. And I have, believe me, chud drives full of pictures. And if you don't know what a chud drive is, you're not editing video. Okay, so this is from William. Now, William, he loves Moto Guzzies, and we give him a hard time about we give Pokey a hard time about loving Moto Guzzies. But of course, I had a Moto Guzzi already, and he has a 80th anniversary, and he toured all summer on, I think, an 8,000-mile ride, and he sent some really beautiful pictures in that, and I'm going to include them right here on this video. And he sent pictures of his collection, and he responds pretty much every day to the video. And I know if he's in this area, you know, we ought to get together sometime and check these Moto Guzzies out, and let me take some pictures of them. I'll make them look good. We can Photoshop some on it. Anyway, I always love taking pictures. I am not in a class with Joe Roselli, or not even close. But the point is, I have over 1 million pictures on my computer, and I love to have access to pictures I have pictures from 30 years ago on this computer. And I just love having everything that I can go back and look at it again. And so these are some of the pictures that I have gotten from William, and they are some pretty slick pictures.
Now, I worked on Moto Guzzies for both Vlad and for Pokey, and so these look pretty unique, pretty nice collection. And here's a picture of him out west here, and boy, he titled this picture "The Loneliest Road in the United States." Looks pretty lonesome. I'm glad you don't run out of gas out there. Anyway, thank you so much, William, for sharing.
So Adam, and Adam is a regular correspondent too, and I try never to offer marital advice or anything financial. Don't invest in the windy stock market plan. Don't do that. But anyway, but I can give some good advice that has not worked for me, and I'm really trying to pass on what has not worked for me. So Adam said he has his first 400 Ninja. He's riding it every day. He loves it, and he's going to get an Aprilia or a 660. And he's thinking, maybe I should keep that. That's my first bike. Adam, I can't agree with you more. I wish I had my first Suzuki. I wish I had my everything. I wish I had my 55 Chevy. I wish I had my Air Coupe. And it's uncanny how when I sold all the things I sold in my life, I have no idea what I did with the money. I've never been in debt in my whole life, so I don't know. I wasn't paying off the mafia. But the money just went, you know, into the ozone. And then I don't have my 55 Chevy. I don't have my Air Coupe. It's amazing. It's amazing when you're young, you don't think you're going to treasure these things when you get older. Now, if I could go back, Adam, honest to God, if I could go back and get my first bike, the first street legal bike I had was a 125 Suzuki. I remember putting that first license plate on. Oh, if I could have that bike, I would be so happy. And of course, some people can't do it for financial reasons. Some people can't do it for other reasons. But all the mistakes, if I had to list all the mistakes I made in my life, and there are plenty, right up at the top in the first few would be selling these things that later on in life I was so sorry I sold.
And when I was painting Luciano's Kawasaki Triple, the 500, it reminded me, when I sold the first one, I sold it to Frank Straub. When I sold the second one, of course I wanted the 750, I was so sorry I sold it a year later.
Now, a couple of other, and these come in on a random basis. I just write them down and try to answer them on the whatever would be the next question and answer video. By the way, if you send a question in or a photo, I'm usually a week behind, and then it takes a week to add up. I usually about once a week or 10 days add up the questions, and if I have enough to make a video. Anyway, just so you know, it doesn't come out the next day. Now, I hope I'm saying the gentleman's name right. Xenology, Zenogy, Z-E-N-O-G-Y. Maybe and I've been criticized for not speaking English. I speak alien, or Brooklyn, or something, or soprano. I don't know.
But anyway, this is a question that came in, a question. He had an 09 R1 with Dunlop Q3s, and this is from down under, from Australia. And he enjoys the local roads, and what I would like to know, if he would pass this information on in the future. Now, my R1 is a tire eater. I don't know why, and I don't ride that aggressively, but it seems like if you get 4,000 out of a set of tires, you're really lucky. And sometimes at 3, you start thinking it's time to replace the tires. But again, that's why I went to trying the Pirelli Angels. They're super difficult to mount, really difficult. But Vlad has told me he's getting a lot better mileage than I am. So and the tires are plenty sticky for the kind of riding I do. I'm not doing track days or anything. So I will report when I get time to add up the mileage. And I'm doing the Michelin 5 test on 2 bikes now, on the 650 and on the MT-09, and I keep logs of everything, especially tires. So, and I just put a brand new back tire on the RD, so we're ready to go out and have another 2-stroke day soon. Anyway, a fella, I love this address. His handle is Badass Moto TV. He used the check engine light video to his advantage. I'm still trying to figure out that when I put that video up, I was not even going to put the video up because someone had already put a video, but they left out the part of the connector. So I did, oh, okay, it's going to take me half an hour. I put that video up there. So many people have said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's another one, Badass Moto. Anyway, a great comment. And these are things I love. I love as much as funny stories or good pictures from friends around the world. Thomas Hansen. Anybody, listen to this. This is really something. Anybody who understands 2-strokes understands women. If you understand 2-strokes, you understand women. And as I kept reading, he says, that's because logic doesn't matter. And he says, his wife, oh, I should say my wife, not his wife. I got to write this down better. My wife says, men who ride 2-strokes stay young beyond their years. Of course, that's in the eye of the beholder. And a lot of times, you can't even Photoshop that out. And this is what happens if you ride 2-strokes. You always have a good understanding of women, and they understand you. I don't know if that's true, but cheap marital advice. It is from David, and this is really an excellent question. General information and no high-tech stuff. We try to keep this that it's easy to understand and simple. David, he wanted to compare compounds, and what happens is, I wanted to show this. A lot of people, I've got it on the video, but again, a lot of people don't know it. This is just one product, Evercoat. Almost every product that you can buy at a body shop or at AutoZone is going to have the grit. It's going to have, and I'm going to read this right off the label. The compound is medium, there's fine, there's finesse, there's glaze, and there's maximum finish. So what normally you would do if you had old paint, you'd want to take compound and get off all the oxidation. That's going to leave micro scratches. Now you want to go to the next, let's just assume you started that with 3,000 grit. Well, you read on here that now you can go to 3,500 grit, a compound, and you can wind up somewhere around 6,000, but now it's not, they can't sell it as polished. That's flitz, what flitz is. And some of the waxes and the things that are just made to give a surface that doesn't have scratches a beautiful shine. So get used to the idea that at some point in time, if you're doing an old paint, you want to get rid of the oxidation first. You want to get the surface flat. Sometimes you have to sand with 2,500 grit, 2,000, if it's really old. And then you want to polish it with some polish. And again, there's a million polishes on the market. 8065 is one of the ones I've used on the video many, many times. It seems to be a good generic middle ground. You really only need one tube of it, one thing, because it seems to be rough enough that it gets rid of oxidation and fine enough that it puts a nice final shine. And then of course you put a final wax coating on it when you're done just to protect it. And usually the product should have carnauba wax like Colonite does. And so, and by the way, I may as well put this on here. Let me get my get my bucket of joy out here just to show. I didn't plan on doing this. Dale generously gave me these two because one is rough and one is fine, and we made a video already of how these worked out on, I don't remember, maybe it was some of the products I painted for him. But both of these work, except they're Evercoat. They work real well. It's written right on there what the grid is. Now, this is the product, and I'm not selling this stuff. And by the way, this stuff is hard to find too. If you look, and I'll put the camera on this real close, it shows what the grits are, and what this number will change, the grit changes. This number changes, and the finer it gets, the more of a top finish it's supposed to be, as opposed to remove and oxidation. But if you only have one, if you just buy one product, and you can get this from a body shop, this is a product that you can use by hand, you can use by buffer, you can use on aluminum, and it generically it does 99% of the stuff you want to do when you're restoring a motorcycle, or you want to make a new bike even a little bit shinier. Now believe me, all of the products, the modern products, are good. It's just finding the one that works for your purposes best of all, and for me this is the one that works the best. But the one that I used to hand glaze was really good for other things. Once a part is buffed out and you just want to put a new shine on it, this is great. Anything that says rubbing compound, you know, is going to be a little bit rougher. And again, that little scale at the bottom, it tells you how rough the product is. Here's the scale for the 4CR. Get used to reading it. See, this one is in the glaze. Glaze is not going to remove a lot of material. It's just going to make something that's already got all the scratches out a little bit shiner. And it's good basic information. Now this is from Adam. This is really one I don't feel qualified to answer, but I'll give my opinion anyway, and I think you can kind of figure out. Adam, he sent me an email that he got a bike, of course. He has a motorcycle, and he came back and he went for a nice ride, and then he was kind of happy, and he took his family to dinner. Well, I have to tell you what works for me. Karen and I have been married 32 years, and we have very good understandings about how much time I want to spend with the family, how much time I want to spend doing yard work, doing farm work, and how much time I want to ride. And for me, we arrived at a very good solution. I ride every day for 4 hours. I have a 4-hour window that I never make an 8-hour window, and I never make a 1-hour window, or I wouldn't be riding. So, but having some clearly defined riding time is a good thing if you have a conflict with children. In my case, it's grandchildren. And I don't want to become, it's just me, and it's not a good or bad thing, it's just me. I don't want to become the guy who's riding cross country every day. It's not for me. I like to have clearly defined windows of time. I'm out at X and back at X, and I always call an hour before I get home so she knows to make dinner or set the farm on fire or whatever. But some people don't have that. Now, I had a friend, to be honest, I feel bad about this. I gave him some advice. See, we were corresponding. I won't mention his name either. We were corresponding back and forth, and he was, I think, using me for a marriage counselor. And he said, my wife never wants me to go ride. No, I can't ride. All right. He got a new bike, and of course he wanted to ride every day. Of course we all do. And he said, I don't know what the solution is. And I said, well, as a professional marriage counselor like I am, I said, here's a great solution to start with. Ride Saturday, family stuff Sunday. Next week, ride Sunday, or pick a day that it's going to rain and ride the other day. But split it in half. Well, I don't know if it worked because I stopped hearing from him. Now, I don't know, and you'll know who you are if you're watching this video. But I'd love to know if that worked out, if he's happy, or you never know, he could be not that happy now at all. I don't know, but I'm not a marriage counselor. So anyway, and this is the one that's really going to matter. This is the one I was waiting to do some detailed stuff on. Microfibers. Anybody that doesn't know about microfibers are a complete world unto themselves. There's every grade, every variety. I'll give an example. When I started doing research on microfibers, there was a day I had no microfibers. All of a sudden, I'm introduced to microfibers. Yeah, Harbor Freight has them. They're 2 for a nickel or something, and you wipe something, you wash them one time, and then they're half. And then the next time you use them to wipe up oil. That's about it. But there are some better quality ones, and the person that turned me on to the best ones I've found I went down to AutoZone one time and paid $10 for one microfiber that was, I had seen a video on YouTube, and the guy was clay barring a car, a Ferrari or something, and after the clay barring, he microfibered it all down with carnauba wax, and this is the route. And I went and bought one, and it was $10. I said, well, that would be good if I was going to car shows. That may be the thing that pushed me over the edge, but I'm not, and I have to use microfibers every day to keep my bikes clean. There's bugs on them and salt and dirt, and so I need the balance. I need something that's good quality, not the cheapest, not the most expensive, and I found them. And Dale turned me on to them. I had done some work for Dale, and as a little thank you, he brought me a case of microfibers. They're from Kirkland. You can buy them through Amazon. I just bought a case of them. I put that out on a video. But you also want to remember, generic information. You never wash microfibers with your wife's underwear. You wash them separately. And the ones that have, this is basic information, you should have a group of microfibers that all you do is wipe wax off your bike. Nothing else. Another group, and I have these, mine are all separated into milk crates. Ones you use with compound and polish, because you can scratch a really nicely buff finish out. Ones you use like when you do an oil change and you want to wipe the grit off the bottom of the bike where all the dead snakes are and everything. And ones you use a separate thing. Anytime you use diesel fuel, like I do to clean a chain, for instance, I keep them separate, never in the same box, because that smell reeks into it. Now, it just so happens, and it just ironically enough, I'm ready to do a batch of microfibers. I'm going to throw them in, and I'm going to show how I wash my microfibers, and it works for me. But keep in mind, these are the ones, they're the rough service ones, the ones that I use to just do the final polishing. I would never put them in with the greasy, dirty ones. I keep them separate. But these are the ones, and I've got these probably for 5 years already, and I've washed them 50, 60 times. But you always want the new ones for doing the top finish. You need various sets of them. And you don't intermingle. Don't take a brand new one and wipe the oil pan off, and don't take the one you just did an oil change with and wipe the bike off after you compound it or wax it. There's just basic information there, but the biggest thing is wash them separately, and I'll show how I do that. And these are Kirkland microfibers. They come 36 to a pack. You can get them from Amazon. These are the ones that work the best for me. They're absolutely the best, and Dale, thank you for turning me on to these. And this OxyClean is what I use to clean my summer riding gear. It worked great. It's also great for microfibers, and in this case, ordinary simple green. So just for information's sake, this is the ones that they're several years old. I use them over and over again, but I don't do the top finish, the top wax. This is just for generic cleaning. And again, I do clean the bike on a regular basis. I clean it every time I ride it, in fact. Almost every time. Maybe sometimes I'm time limited. But you can see these have been used. They have grease, they have grit, but I'm not going to throw them away. And I do have a good supply of them over the years. I've been using this for many, many years. And keep in mind that you do a lot of this cleaning, and if you only had 10 microfibers, you'd really be stressed. It'd really be a problem. Anyway, ordinary washing machine. And I wanted to show this. Let me just pack this in here. Get it balanced a little bit. This is what I have found works on a normal load. Simple green, ordinary simple green. Now, it's hard to explain to people how good simple green is if you never use it. There's probably better stuff. Crud Cutter probably works, but for me, simple green, and I do have Crud Cutter. Simple green is a good thing, but this is the final little tip, and this works great. The OxyClean. There's a scooper in there. The scooper is for one load. It doesn't really matter if you get exactly right. And in my case, I put it on the cycle. It says heavy dirt on my 100-year-old washing machine. This thing is an RD and hot. And when they come out, I'll dry them and they'll be good to go. I'll have a case for generic use microfibers. Now our last question comes from Adam. And Adam, he wanted me to show how to radar box, that little box I made, where I got the parts, how it come together. And I'll put a brief thing about that on there. But keep in mind, again, you just go to my channel, and whether you're doing it from YouTube or from my channel, and put in Valentine radar detector. Now, I've had that in a jivvy bag, I've had it on a magnetic bag, and I've also had it on this little mount that I made, and I'm going to show that. Just that'll be the last thing we'll have on this video. But that's all. That information is on previous videos, and it's sometimes it's a little tricky to track down exactly what you want, but it's all out there. It's like going to the library and you got to find Moby Dick or Gone with the Wind or something. And once you figure out how to do it once, the whole world is open to you. And some photos from John of his MT-09. It's the later version of mine. Has the real air intake scoops, the auto blipper. I'm trying to think what else the more modern traction control, better traction control, etc., etc. And I don't know if they still make the SP version with the better suspension and stuff, but again, MT-09, the one thing, you never run into somebody that doesn't like their bike. Thank you, Joe. So Adam, this is how this works. This is a unit you buy from Valentine, this little box. It has a wire attached to it. It's very simple. This connects to a screamer that makes a loud screeching sound when it detects radar. It's made to go in a car, so there's a lot of extra wires, and the wires, I want to open this box up just to show it. The only thing this box does is just contain what I call garbage, but it's basically wires, extra batteries and things. But no part of that. You could just use this. Now, Jose has this mounted in such a way that he can just, it's mounted to his handlebar, I think. I don't remember. But if you only had one or two motorcycles, you could make something a lot simpler than this. The reason I need this is I have to be able to take this off and put it on to another motorcycle. Now, it connects with the same wire I use to charge the battery. So every one of my bikes in the collection, except for the RD and the GS, there's no convenient way so far to mount this. I will be working on that over the winter. But being able to plug in the battery charger, unplug it, and plug in the radar detector, it's on this box. It comes off, and I'll show how it comes off and just goes on to another motorcycle. Easy peasy. This box was $12 in Lowe's. The wires are all simple telephone wire plug-ins. It looks like when you get this in the mail, and Valentine is the premier. Everybody I know that rides motorcycles has a Valentine. I don't know anybody, even one person that has the other brands. These really work great, and they really do save you a lot of money if you're in an area like we are, where they can really give you a hard time about going through these fake radar traps and stuff. So the construction of this plate is a piece of carbon fiber, and I showed how to make it. It's on my channel. It's on a dedicated video, and I don't think any part of that would be difficult to make. I made the mount for this out of carbon fiber. I just thought it would look a lot nicer than making it out of aluminum or something. But anyway, to take this off, it's a jivvy mount. So what you have to have the jivvy ring, and thank you, Vlad, for getting me all these extra rings. I got 6 of them, I think. They mount to the gas cap so you can put gas in, and when of course, you go to whatever bike you're going to ride next, it's real easy. You snap it on, it's done. You hook up the wire. It does a test bleep, so you know that the screamer's working. And what happens is, no matter how loud your bike is, even like the green bike that's pretty loud, this overrides it. And what happens when you're coming up on radar, this will pick it up. You won't even see the car with the radar in it or the radar trap. You'll hear beep, 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 and as the beeps get closer together, you know you're closing in on it. On Route 80, I pick up as they're coming the other way, and it has a very distinct sound as it's coming up the highway and as it's going behind you. You learn that routine in a matter of a day. And then this is a lifesaver. To me, wearing a good helmet, wearing gloves, all the riding gear, boots, this is right behind it. And I still have to do this. I'm still working on something, because you'd think it would be easier to mount this up to a bike that doesn't have a modern gas cap. It's not. Trust me, I've been working on it for a while. So the issue with older bikes like the GS is I have to make an aluminum plate that somehow mounts to the gas cap that will hold the jivvy mount, and I haven't been able to come up with a way that looks correct. in the past, and I've made some little prototypes and things that I thought, one of them was Dallas had sent me a thing that suction cups onto the tank. I just wasn't, none of them I was happy with how the overall thing was going to work. But winter is coming, and in this part of the country, we have a long winter. And I'm going to continue to work on this and hopefully come up with something really slick before the winter's over. So I'm looking back to see if I left anything out that would be worth sharing. Thank you for all the people that sent in pictures and tell us the story of their adventures. And as I'm going through this, again, I'm thinking, because that nostalgia video was so popular with so many people, it brought back memories. Wow. I'm trying to think of how I could incorporate that into another video. That would be a lot of fun. The truth is, all of us have, if you live to my age, or even if you're 50 or 40 or whatever, you look back at your childhood, and if you don't have memories of things that you go back to that neighborhood and back to that motorcycle dealer. I would love to go back to Westwood Suzuki where I bought my GS. It's not there anymore. I would love to go to Circle Burner Field and see all the guys flying their plane. Not there anymore. You know, there's so many things that I turn around and you turn around and they're gone. And then my high school is gone, among other things, and so many things. And the world morphs whether you like it or not, and if you agree with it or you don't agree with it, it doesn't slow it down even a bit. You got to just understand and appreciate it. Going to that train museum in Booton and seeing all the older trains and the old passenger cars. Wow. Every bit of that, something in my childhood that reminds me of. And so, for me, that's a precious thing. Maybe to some people it's not precious at all. Either way, we could still be friends. And the biggest thing to ever take from a Windy video, if you ride dirt bikes, you ride a Harley, you have a Goldwing. I just saw a guy with a restored Goldwing, a beautiful 85 Goldwing, and it just made me remember we're all doing the same thing. And to appreciate everybody's efforts, appreciate the guys that are great dirt bike riders, that know how to polish bikes and do custom things and go on these little rides that we go on and not get hurt or not get a ticket. It's all the same. It's all part of the same wonderful world of motorcycling. And if you have a passion for it, I have a passion for it, it's a good chance we could be friends. So ever since I started this question and answer thing, it's proven to be, I think, pretty productive and pretty popular. And to anybody that sends me pictures to the email address, please make them attachments that I can download and make them full size. It'll make it a lot easier for me to get them out there and send the correct information. And if I've left somebody out by mistake, hey, my apologies, but I got a lot of stuff going on with this channel. I'm trying to make the channel fun for everybody. It's a non-political friendship thing. I don't want to turn it into who's right and who's wrong and who's tough and who isn't. It's not that at all. We all share the same passion for motorcycling, or you wouldn't be watching it this far into the video. You'd be watching something else. And whether you like custom wheels or you like carbon fiber parts or paint, we have a long winter coming up very soon, and we're going to be doing all the maintenance, tire changing, painting wheels, painting motorcycles, doing repairs, and it's all going to be on the channel, and I hope everybody enjoys. So thanks one and all for watching. We post up something every day. I hope we'll see you tomorrow.